Welcome. In this short video, we are going to discuss methods, in particular, methods on strings. At the risk of going beyond the core topic, let's talk about methods on a bigger scale in terms of object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming is something we'll cover later, but it is a methodology or style of programming that many programming languages, modern-day programming languages, use. So it's important for us to take a little bit more time to discuss them. In an object, we talked about properties. Properties on an object are its attributes that represent its state. Methods for an object are the actions we can perform on those objects. They're the behaviors or the operations that you can apply to objects. Again, on a very abstract level, without going into any programming, think of an abstract real-world object and see if you can think of some properties and methods of that object. Let's try a bank account. What kind of properties do you have or do you think might exist on a bank account? And number two, what are some methods or behaviors that you can expect, or operations that you can expect to invoke or use on your bank account? Think of some. Pause this video, and when we come back, we'll give you some examples. Okay, so a real-world abstract object, a bank account. You can think of every bank account having an account number, a balance, the type of bank account, like checking or savings, the interest rate that that bank account pays. Those are properties of a bank account. They are the attributes of that bank account. They are what determine the bank account state at any point in time. Now, methods on the bank account are the operations or the behaviors of that object. So things you can expect to perform on any bank account are things like deposit, withdrawal, and transfer, transferring some funds from one bank account to another. Now you notice with the bank account methods, they have they take some parameters. They have parentheses with some parameter inside it. So for deposit, you need to specify how much you can actually deposit. Same with withdrawal. In transfer, you can see that it takes two parameters, the amount to transfer and the account to transfer to. So in other words, methods can take parameters 0 or more. And that way you can think of them almost like functions, that they take some value and may or may not return some value as well. How do we use a method, or how do we invoke a method from an object? There's three parts to it. Just like with attributes or properties, we use the dot operator, the period. After the period, we put the name of the method. And finally, we surround the method, or not surround the method, but we append to the method opening and closing parentheses. And within those parentheses, we can also incorporate parameters. So two examples below are, which we've been using since the beginning, is console.log to print something. Console is the object, dot is a dot operator, log is the method on the console object, and it takes a parameter of a string, something we can print to the console. Another example is the string hello. We have a method that we can apply on that too as well. The string hello, which is in this case surrounded by apostrophes like we normally do, single quotes, the dot operator, and a method to uppercase. Can you guess what this method will do to the string hello? You guessed right. This will take the string hello and take every lowercase character in the string and convert them to uppercase characters. So there is a question that we should talk about, and the question is how can you know what the names of the methods, or in some cases the names of the properties are for a given object? We'll discuss that as we head over to the Code Academy exercise for this topic. And if you haven't done it already, maybe pause this video and come back and resume watching. Okay, welcome back. We're going to carry out the solution for the topic, methods, which focuses on methods for strings. Before we get into the solution, I just wanted to answer the question we asked a moment ago. How can you know what are all the methods on a given object? Well, in the lesson here, they actually provide you a link to JavaScript documentation, which I'm going to open right now just to quickly look at. And they took us to the string object. They took us to a website that documents a lot of the built-in objects for JavaScript. And in this case, it took us right to the string object. Now, on the left-hand side here, you can see that they list out the string. First of all, they indicate that the string is a built-in object for JavaScript, which is great because string is a very important object type. And it tells you the properties here. In this case, they only have one property that you can use, the length property. But they have many, many methods you can use on a string that can perform many kinds of functions or operations on a string that might be of use in your program. In fact, there's quite a many number here if you look down the left here. Okay, that's just a bit of diversion just to say that all the built-in objects have documentation that tell you, the programmer, how to use that object, that built-in object, in terms of the properties that you can make use of and the methods. And this library of documented built-in objects, so documented on this website, is how you can think of that as your JavaScript programmer's reference to know all the things you can invoke and use in your program. So let's go back again to the solution. They were asking you in the very first exercise to take this string, Code Academy, and change it to uppercase, or to call the toUppercase method, and then put that in a console.log. So you can see here we have the string Code Academy, the dot operator, and toUppercase. When we print it out to the console, voila, Code Academy all uppercase. In the second exercise, they are now saying to take this string, remove white space, and to trim all the white space. They don't tell you, oh, they do tell you. They say there's a perfect method to use here called the trim method. The trim method will take off the white space of your string, both from the front and the back, and return that string to you. If they hadn't told you the name of the method to use here, we could go back to the documentation, look at all the methods, and find the method that's of interest to us. And the way we'd find it is, like I said earlier, they list all the methods on the left here so you can find it. And if you weren't sure what the method does, it's as simple as finding the method that you think could be the one you're looking for or interested in, and reading a little bit more about it. So if we were to go to trim, we can see that they document it. They document exactly what it does and tell you what it does. All right, without further ado, let's just go to the solution and plunk that in and see what we get. Console.log, and they want us to call remove white space. So we'll just maybe copy and paste that string. And they want us to trim from there the leading white spaces and the trailing white spaces. So we try and run that. We'll see that the white spaces at the front of the string and the back of the string are gone. Thanks for watching. All the best in your journey to JavaScript.